she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period.
Hey, everybody.
Period.
Just let me see your transcript. I'm reacting to the U.S. presidential debate.
You can do whatever you want.
I'm a little bit late, about 20 minutes late.
We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy, who became very conservative members on the Supreme Court, takes credit for taking it
They
away.
definitely got
What's
their
he gonna do? What's he
colors.
gonna do? In fact, if
Trump got a red tie.
Republicans, he gets the
Biden got a blue tie.
and the Republicans control the Congress, and they pass
They
a
crooked
universal
blue
ban
tie.
on abortion, period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, but made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me.
Biden, please slow down. You're making good points, but you're rushing.
When he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in the way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border legally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on
Do they have water for them to drink?
Relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we have
Oh,
the safest border in the history of our country. All he had to do was leave it. All he had to do is leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists.
we got those type of people here in this country, right?
Now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world. They're pouring in.
Suit is made in China.
Just left it open, and he didn't need legislation.
Left it open.
Because I didn't have legislation. I said close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who was great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that. They endorsed me for president.
What you just said?
Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in Arizona.
Do you even care? Do you even care about that?
Terrorists who've done anything crossing the border. This one who came along and killed 3 under his administration, killed an Al Qaeda person coming in his administration.
Slow down.
Killed 3 American soldiers. Killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got there, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now.
He is such a fear monger.
They're killing our people in New York, in California.
Just say yes, sir. You planning on deporting them all?
Every state is
Just say you plan on deporting them all. You already have. Did he have a list of countries that people can come up
they're
in?
killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens
Biden-
at a level that we've
Did
never
he say
seen before.
Biden migrant crime? Then wasn't there some Trump domestic
Girls
crime?
over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother.
Fix it, Jesus.
He just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taking place. What's taking
Oh,
place
you are not gonna take Jocelyn Nungare's death and use it for political. Oh no, you did.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And we have to get a lot of these people out, or we have to get them out fast.
That poor girl and her family.
Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels. In New York
And
City,
especially since there's a whole bunch of other 12-year-old girls that are getting killed and raped by people who are citizens or even their own families.
I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA.
Oh my goodness. A lot of veterans committed suicide. I'm tired of him. Somebody come get it.
Different things I approved. They abandoned.
Somebody come get it.
By far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border.
Killed people. I don't see a whole bunch. I'm tired of him.
Every single one.
Is
For
it?
example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed
Oh
the back.
Lord, jeez.
1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France.
Slow down.
And I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery, he refused to go to. He was standing with his
Ooh.
4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go because
Burn.
I'm a loser and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine, this failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking it. I'm so glad this came up. And he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me.
You said
It was
POWs were
Russia was made
Did you
up.
say
Just like
POWs
the
one time were
51
horrible
intelligence
soldiers?
Agents are made up. Just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking, it's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't.
Oh my goodness, you are not real laptop.
Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
The 4-star general standing to your side was on your staff, said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more.
Looks like your two uncles arguing at the Thanksgiving table.
And then now we're in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them.
Well, only one of them is my
That's what
favorite.
they're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its 3rd year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander in chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never, he would have.
We don't want to be respected by Putin.
A lot of people.
That's his homeboy. See, I got problems with him.
He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left
That
American
question,
citizens
are
behind.
Putin's terms for
Putin
any
said
Russian
that. He
war
said, "You know
against
what?
Ukraine
I
acceptable
think
to
I'm
Trump?"
going maybe take
Yes.
This
Just say
is
yes,
his
sir.
dream. I talked to him about it. His dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. And just like Israel would have never been invaded in a
What?
million years by Hamas. You know why?
What?
Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody
Oh,
do
my.
business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration.
No terror at
Just
all?
because the whole world is blowing up under him.
Wait,
President
who?
Trump,
Who? When?
Working my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of his troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president, they attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all
I need
it
to find out
is.
who the fact checkers are.
When the
So they
attack
can
took
fact
place,
check.
number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did.
Yeah, he did everything he wanted. Oh, nah, he
Do
making
whatever you
face.
want. And he went in. Listen to what he said.
Trump
He went
making
in.
face.
We're going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish. Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
can I
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute? I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
No, they're not acceptable.
Oh,
Look, this is a war that never should have started. If you had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president before I take office on January 20th.
are you out of your?
People,
He's gonna end the war in Ukraine and Russia.
and I will get it settled, and I'll get
He
it
gonna-
settled fast
he-
before I take office.
Trump say he gonna do what? Oh hell!
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine?
I know this man did not say he gonna end the war in Ukraine and Russia. I have heard it all.
And so if you win a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza.
True.
So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is treating the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one, they're the only ones standing out.
And come on, Israel kind of wants to do it too. I know you gotta be careful how you say this part.
In Israel, we're trying to see the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack.
What are they gonna ask about how Putin met with Kim Jong-un last week, a week before last?
We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so they're 2 different things. Hamas cannot.
Somebody must have worked with Trump to not make so many faces, but he's still making faces.
So how we can get Hamas like we did Bin Laden.
But Trump, I don't know. Biden,
and by the way,
they sound a lot more hoarse than usual.
Greatly weakened than they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them? So you got to put up your money like I did with NATO. I got them to put up.
He does meet with them. That's a kind of good point.
General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen.
If y'all hear water in the background,
they were going out of business. We were
on.
spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these.
You know, you can't do everything.
Over $100 billion more.
You got to talk to
them.
them.
Bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them as far as Israel. And
you can still hit missiles and planes and stuff over
the
ocean.
The only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian. They don't like him because he's.
Oh my God! Are you using Palestinian as a insult? There are Palestinian Americans who vote.
If you pull out the idea that we have our strengths and our alliances as well.
Oh my
maybe
God.
a big ocean. We're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major
There
war
are
in
Palestinian
Europe?
war against Hamas.
You have to continue to go into NATO. We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about.
And there are Jewish people who are against what Israel is doing. Like, come on, sir.
And then move on to Poland and other places. What happens then? He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
Yeah.
I have to see, but before we do,
Wait.
the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations. Because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia? At a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And I said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, Some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes.
Ooh.
As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th?
Oh, we got a question now.
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through.
That is not the question that man just asked you.
Energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever.
That man asked you about your supporters and what they did on January 6th. They did not ask you for the question.
And then he comes in, and we're now left.
Sir,
We're like a bunch of
you told your people to go down to the Capitol and do something.
Reputation.
Oh my goodness.
Is horrible.
Will you do it again? Just imagine you. What does Trump say to voters who believe he violated his oath of office January 6th and where he will do it again?
Seconds left. My
Good
question
job.
was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inactions?
Answer the question, Trump.
And worry that you'll do it again.
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically.
Oh.
Nancy Pelosi, if you
What?
just watched the news from 2 days ago,
What did he say?
on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, as they say.
Did he say a
She's
filmmaker?
saying, oh no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard. And she
What?
turned them down.
When did he do that?
In writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of DC.
The mayor?
Turned it down.
I thought the mayor said she didn't get nothing from y'all. She requested that, and ain't nobody show up.
I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I
Oh
said,
my goodness. They didn't think y'all were worth for. No, because nobody thought you were going to tell them white people to go down there and do this stuff. And there was some Asian folks in that Jewish group too, and some Hispanic people.
And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said,
What is he talking about? Are y'all listening to this?
President Biden?
Am I the only one outraged?
He encouraged those folks to walk in Capitol.
There you go. Yes, he did.
Died in off Oval Office. She
Say it again.
3 hours watching, begging.
We was all watching it on the big screen.
To do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patriots.
Y'all go home now. That's what he said to them. Y'all go home now. Thank you for your support.
And they've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. He went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court. They said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He didn't do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out, and now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that there could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that would have been destroyed.
What?
When you look at all of the they took over.
This is making me very angry.
When
it's voting day, I'm about to go early.
And they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing, the Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon, this man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up at Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks, turned over statues. The idea that those people are patriots? Come on. When I asked them,
They're not patriots, they're rioters, they're thugs.
first time around, I said, "Will you denounce the Proud Boy?" He said, "No, I'll tell them to stand by." The idea he's refusing.
Stand by?
We denounce these guys. We denounce the people we're talking about now. We denounce the people who attacked that Capitol. What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the select committee on January 6th going to jail. And your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said
What?
my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country
Oh.
successful again.
Oh, that didn't sound right.
My retribution is going to be success. But when he
I-
talks about it,
You told them people after you lost that last election to go down there and do something about it. And they wreaked all kind of havoc. Now you say, oh, retribution can be just because we won?
But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Just
Oh.
be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done.
Oh, now he took a dig at his son. Okay.
Telling the.
I mean, all your kids is fair game. I know, but I ain't gonna try to keep it classy, but if Ivanka, all them, but Aaron, all them get shady now. I feel it. Yeah. You gonna talk about? Oh, she said that. Now we gotta bring up your kids. Your kids get satisfaction rate. Wasn't that one of your trial?
Thank you, President Trump.
What's his two oldest boys' name? Eric and Donald Jr.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you talk about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you
Son
have a
of a
right to seek
biscuit.
retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with. And think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for?
Oh, y'all, the
arresting
rain
a
is
woman
coming down. Let
for
the
doing a
rain
whole
come
range of
down.
things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant. I mean, what are you talking about?
Oh, he said he was bad husband.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one.
Baby, did you, Trump? Sir, did you lose that trial? You talk about his son, you bring up your porn trial. I just feel like it's even.
We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge.
Oh Lord, the judge, not a judge is wrong. How come everybody? He is such a mess. It's always somebody else's fault.
And the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the
You was going after your own people.
He has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up way up. You know that because you.
Oh my goodness! Did
And
he
we
say
took in
his?
more money in the last 2
Did he
weeks
say his?
than we've ever taken in the history.
I'm
of
trying
any
to.
campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Oh, the projection. You can't win fair. Hell, you can't even win fair and square.
Democracy.
You a sore loser.
The tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy.
The more they know about
Yes.
what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done.
There you go.
And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming out. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the jury's will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? You ever hear any president say that I thought he'd had some good ideas? What got me involved in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again. Until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas, torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic file they sang when they were back in Germany. And the young woman I spoke to the mother, and they asked him, they said, what do you think of those people? The people who the ones got one who tried to stop it, and the one he said, I think they're fine people on both sides.
Mm.
What American president would ever say, Nazis coming out of fields, carrying torches, singing the same anesthetic bile, carrying swastikas, were fine people.
Mm.
This is a guy who says that there's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things that there's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy. President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story's been totally wiped out, because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. That he's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency is without question, the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country.
No.
There's nothing to
There's been worse presidents.
Charlottesville.
You would have.
And you see it's debunked all over the place.
You would have.
Every reasonable actor has debunked it. And just the other day it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows
Oh no.
that, and he
Oh,
didn't run
it's
because
the
of
rain
Charlottesville.
and
He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden, in debunk, it happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president.
Exactly. You don't deserve it.
He's talking about all this being fabricated. We saw it with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying them.
Sitting in the chair and everything.
His 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
Oh Lord, y'all, how much more of this they got? I'm tired. I'm all excited, upset. I'll talk to y'all later. I'm gonna see if I can watch the rest of this and grab something to eat. My TV kind of stopped for a minute. I think it may be the rain and the storming may affect my internet. So, plus some little superstitions. I remember my aunt and uncle growing up. It was like anytime it's storming rain, you're supposed to go turn off all the lights and you're supposed to sit there and be still. I still feel like that a little bit. But I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all check out CNN. A lot of the news agencies are showing the debate. Also, Roland Martin is too. So leave a comment in the description. Let me know how you feel about the different topics. And what is another reaction video you want me to do? So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. I'm gonna still watch the rest of the debate, but I'm just, Lord, talk to y'all later.